Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video where I'm giving you a bit of a buy one get one free, a view one get one free, because I have the new Roxa palette from Natasha Denona, so I'm going to be sharing swatches, a demo and my initial thoughts on this new palette from Natasha Denona. And I also thought while I'm here, while I've got you, I will throw in my thoughts and a demo with this little cheek duo from Tom Ford, this blush and highlight duo for holiday. So we're going to try both of these new products out. I'm going to share swatches, a demo, and let you know my thoughts on whether or not these are worth picking up, whether they're worth putting on your wish list for Christmas or shopping in the upcoming Sephora savings event. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first up, let's talk about this new limited edition, that's right, Roxa palette from Natasha Denona. This little beauty will set you back £64 or $69. As I say, it is limited edition and it features 15 shades, including a brand new silky matte formula, brand new for this palette. So this is described as the most ultra soft texture and extremely velvety finish with the craziest payoff and no kickbacks. It's available now everywhere and anywhere, including Sephora, so it is going to be there and ready for the Sephora savings event. It's highly unlikely that this is going to sell out before that, so I think you've got plenty of time to get a really great saving if you are interested in it. And then we have this new Tom Ford cream highlighting blush duo. This will set you back £80 or $100. It is limited edition and part of their holiday collection. And this features a sheer highlighter and a rosy blush in a cream to satin formula. So those are all the details on these two new products. Let's jump into some swatches and see these products in action. Okay, so let's take a close-up look at the Roxa palette first and do some swatches. I'm sure you can see it's got this gorgeous like purple to green shift on that front cover there. I thought I was imagining this last night because it arrived quite late, and so when I opened it and was looking at it, I was in my sitting room and I thought it was like reflecting the lights, but now I can see in daylight as well that it does have a green purple shift, which I think is beautiful, very pretty and different. And here we have the shades inside. I'm very excited to swatch this. Okay, so we have Dixie, Jacaranda, Flutter, Phoebe, and Regal. And that is the top row. Quite soft, this top row, lighter, just that one sort of richer purple matte. Very pretty. Next we have Eclipse, Stargirl, Bolt, which is that marble shade. Oof, that's pretty. Heather. That did not swatch very well. Let's top Heather up, that's better. And Cerise. So this row we have a lot more depth. We've got some richer tones in there. Plus we have that stunning marbled sort of shade that's shifting between silver and like violet. Gorgeous. That is the middle row. And then we have Sweet Pea, Concord, Velour, Brink, and Orchid. Again, sort of more richer shades here. I think as per the usual, the mattes from Natasha Denona just don't swatch that well, but then on the eyes they always perform beautifully, so try not to judge too harshly on some of these swatches. It's just the nature of those really pigmented mattes. Okay, so I'm going to try and do something a little softer than I've seen a lot of the looks with this palette. Typically, I want this to be really wearable for me. And while these are, you know, purples, I do like purples. Some of these shadows are very intensely purple or quite bright or leaning a bit more like fuchsia, like some of these. So I want to see if this can make an everyday sort of wearable, pretty softer look for me, because that's what I would typically lean towards. And I think that'll give us something like slightly different to a lot of the looks that we've seen already. So I'm going to start off with Sweet Pea, which is this sort of mauvey pink, I want to say, on the bottom row. And I'm using my Sonia G Holiday brush from last year. I'm very excited already for Sonia's holiday collection this year. I've seen that we're getting a restock of the Cranes brush holder. I've literally tried like 3 or 4 times to get that brush holder, and every time it just gets taken out of my cart at the last second. So I'm going to be hoping for like a 4th time lucky with that one, because I feel like it would very much tidy up my makeup desk. So this is really pretty, softer matte shade, and this is one of the silky mattes. This is a new formula from Natasha and I'm liking it. You can tell the difference between this and her creamy mattes for sure. It definitely feels softer, lighter, less sort of intensely pigmented. I suppose the name would give you that, but it's blending beautifully and it's giving me that nice soft wash that I was hoping for from this first shade. I just want to see how versatile this palette is. Can it be one that I use and reach for a lot, or is it going to be like too disco purple? Next, what I'm going to do is dip into this shade up here, which is Jacaranda. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but I'm just going to use this really lightly on the outer V and into the crease. It looks very intense and rich, but I'm hoping, which I think I'm managing, that I can use this quite lightly just to give us a bit more purple into the look, because this is going to be a purple look obviously with this palette, but without it becoming way too rich for what I'm looking for, and it's doing that beautifully. So far I'm actually excited, because that might be one of those shades that you look at it and think, I wouldn't use that, but do you see how really lightly you can use this without it becoming really rich and dark? I feel like a lot of Natasha's shadows are so buildable and blendable, and you don't have to use them at full intensity. You can really get a lot out of them this way. By the way, I'm so sorry, I'm using my Sonia G T5. Carefully, just a bit at a time, I'm just building that into that outer third of my lid, trying not to get carried away, but I already feel it happening. I already sense it happening. I'm just enjoying playing with these shades. It's just fun. Can't help myself. I'm going to put that brush down before I continue to get too carried away. It's very easy to do with these shadows because they're so pretty. I want to keep playing with them. So next I'm going to take a little bit of this shade down here, this more sort of purpley shimmer, Concord, and I'm going to take this on my Sonia G Builder brush, and I'm just going to pop that connecting to that matte shade and just starting to give us a bit of shimmer. So far we're doing very well with fallout. Barely, I can't see anything as yet, but we haven't really dipped into this sort of real sparkly shades yet, and that's where typically that will come. Okay, so despite me wanting to do something a bit more wearable today, I literally can't stay away from this bulk shadow. I'm absolutely intrigued. I'm desperate to get it on my eye. So the plan is going out the window. I'm going to keep with that same brush, the Builder from Sonia G, and I'm going to start applying that in the sort of center. Okay, do you know, I've swirled my brush in here. Obviously you want to make sure you're sort of getting a bit of everything from that pan. And although it is of course very pretty and reflective and interesting, I don't actually feel like that's taken this into a completely over the top, too intense or too colourful place for me. I feel like this is still quite pretty and wearable. I perhaps wouldn't wear this if I was in my old day job to the office, but I would wear this in my current everyday, you know, school runs and things without feeling like too crazy. But obviously that's each to their own situation. Definitely felt some fallout from this shade, just settling on my cheeks there. Yes, definitely quite a bit fallout from that shade, so be warned. I am using dry brushes. You know, if you use a damp brush with a spritz of setting spray, then you will get less fallout. But I do like to see the amount of fallout that we get from shadows, just, you know, for the team. Like to let you know what's going on. So I think now I'm going to jump into, is it Stargirl? Yes, and my Refa 21, and this is that very sort of silvery shade. Again, I'm starting off lightly because I'm a bit nervous. I don't want to go too crazy, but again, this is actually softer than, it looks very sort of bright and silver in the pan, but actually on the eye, it's softer, prettier, more wearable, I think. This is so pretty. I'm having so much fun. Yeah, you definitely can build that up. And like I said, still, you know, dry brushes. Give these brushes a little spritz of some Fix Plus or something, and you will get a much more intense payoff if that's what you'd like. But for me, this is much more wearable and usable than I thought it would be. Okay, so for my lower lash line, I'm going to take a little bit of velour. I just want to use sort of as many of these shadows as possible in this look so we can really get a feel for a good number. I poked myself right in the eye. Using my T3 from Neige. Nice little poem there, that's for free. Yeah, I like that shadow. It's nice and soft and pretty, but it's got a really lovely sort of dusky undertone to it. I think I just want to add a little bit more of Stargirl with a smaller brush back into that inner corner. Pop, make that pop a little more. This was my Sonia Builder S. Okay, and I think I'm done with the eyeshadow look. What do you guys think? I got to use quite a lot of shades in this look and I'm really happy with it. It's obviously super pretty and mermaidy with all of those different tones of like purple and pink coming together, but this is totally wearable for me at the same time. It's not really loud, it's not bright, you know, it is purple, but it's not garish and loud and sort of fluorescent, if you see what I'm saying. It's a bit softer, a bit more muted as far as the colour story, but the formulas are stunning. You know, I'm not great at blending and I feel like the mattes really blended themselves. Let's take a close-up look before I go in with mascara. Okay, so I'm going to use a coat of my Charlotte Tilbury push-up blushes now. Okay, so here is the finished look with a coat of my mascara. I love it so much. It's so pretty. This is like exactly the kind of makeup I love to do. These colours, tones, finishes for like, you know, when I'm just feeling a little bit extra. It's really surprising to me that how much I love this shade, because looking at the palette, this would be a shade that I wouldn't use, and I think it's my favourite now that I've put it on my eyes. So I think this palette is quite surprising for me. I'm really happy with this look. I can't wait to play more with that palette. But now moving on, let's have a look at this Tom Ford duo. So this is High Altitude, and it was part of their holiday collection along with an eyeshadow palette and some glosses, which I skipped on. I wasn't interested in. So sorry for the mess. As you can probably see already, I have been playing with this and I am very pleasantly surprised. I don't own any of these duos. So Tom Ford have these duos in their contour highlighters. They also have like highlighter duos that I have never tried. I've never tried this formula before. This is brand new to me. And when I swatched this, when it first arrived, I thought, oh no. Because as you guys know, I am afraid of creams. They scare the living daylights out of me. And these felt like my nightmare. They're very emollient, very silky, but very creamy. They're not sort of firm cream to powders. They feel very slippy and very thin, which immediately makes me feel like they're going to move about, they're going to pick up my base underneath, and I was terrified. So you can see the highlight is very sheer. It's just glow as opposed to having really any colour at all. And then you have that beautiful sort of coral blush. So the shades are right up my street, and let's give them a bit of a try. So I think I'm going to go in with the highlighter first. By the way, I have foundation on and concealer, which I've set just under my eye. With powder, I don't have any other powder on my skin, and I don't have any bronzer on. So I'm just going to go straight on top of foundation with these creams to give them their best shot. I'm using my BK Beauty 109, which is like my go-to when I'm scared of a cream, because it can apply any cream. I've yet to find a cream that this brush can't apply beautifully. So you can see there a light layer, and it's so pretty, really pretty. You just basically get this gorgeous glossy glow without it really laying down colour. It's just sheer and so pretty. I absolutely love the highlighter in here, and I don't have any issues with it picking anything up. I was so pleasantly surprised the first time I sort of whacked this on my face, and I think I probably already had like a full face of makeup on, but it arrived, you know, later in the day, and I wanted to try it out, so I just went on top of whatever I already had on, and I was so surprised that it was so pretty and it was so easy to apply, and I really didn't have any issues at all, which for me was very surprising based on how sort of slippy and emollient it felt. I was terrified. Okay, so for the blush, I'm going to use my Damp Beauty sponge. This is Ruffers one, and I'm just going to press that quite firmly into the product, because this is quite a subtle blush for my skin tone, and I'm just going to start building that up. So pretty. You do need quite a bit. This is quite a light and more sheer blush, so I feel confident applying this quite heavily with the sponge. That's kind of how I felt. We don't have a single problem. I think this is how I did it the first time, and I thought, oh, because I thought, one, I'm not sure the blush is going to show on me, and two, I felt sure that it was going to be very sticky and pick product up underneath. So I am using quite a bit, but you can see how that is just melting so softly and subtly into my skin, and how much you can actually build this up, because I really didn't think this was going to work for my skin tone based on sort of swatches that I'd seen from other people. And then I felt it and I thought, oh no, this is going to be a disaster. But I thought I would continue to sort of play with it, because I know a lot of you will be wanting to see this in action before you spend your money on it. So I thought, no, I'm going to try it out. I can, you know, take one for the team and look ridiculous and have it mess up my whole face of makeup. And then in reality, it's beautifully, naturally juicy cheeks, and I absolutely love it. I'm so pleasantly surprised by this. I really thought this was fully a waste of my money, other than, you know, for review purposes. But I've really been enjoying this, particularly that highlighter, because it just is so soft and pretty, and it doesn't leave any cast or any colour at all. It's very natural and pretty, and I really did not think I was going to be able to use this at all. As soon as I touched it, I thought, oh no, Oh no, this is the wrong kind of cream. This is my nightmare kind of cream. But I think it's super pretty and I was so pleasantly surprised. It doesn't dry down and set, which I would prefer. I feel like that's just a bit safer and it's going to wear better. But I do love this like juicy skin finish, and I'm really pleasantly surprised at how easy it was to use, especially for me, the cream dummy. Okay, so here is the finished makeup of the day. What do you guys think? Okay, so you've seen the swatches, you've seen the demo. Here are my thoughts. I love the Roxa palette. When I saw this, I don't know how I felt. I didn't really feel strongly either way. I didn't feel like, oh no, it's hideous, it's not for me. And I also didn't feel like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for, give it to me. I do love a good purple eyeshadow, I do. But I'm quite specific about like the types of purples. I don't really like super loud pastels. I don't like anything that's too bright or like loud. I like sort of more muted, like mauvey purples, but it is a color that I do really love for eyeshadow, but it's not one that I have a huge amount of. I do feel like Natasha has done a couple of similar ballpark color stories to this on paper, like the Love palette, for example. Retro is quite different, but still sort of in the purples family, if you see what I'm saying. I like this on first impressions way more than I thought I would. This looked like I did today. I really love. I feel like it's quite different to anything else I have. And if you know me, you'll know I love Natasha Denona's formulas. It's one of, if not my favorite brand when it comes to eyeshadow. The formulas are so fantastic. I find them so easy to use. The mattes are unbelievable. My favorite mattes out there. So it's nice to have a color story that's a little bit different to anything else I have in my collection in that formula that I love from Natasha Denona, or in those formulas that I love from Natasha Denona. I think the new Silky Matte formula is beautiful. I wouldn't necessarily say it's wildly more pigmented than her other matte formulas. I find them beautifully pigmented anyway, but it is very silky. The name is perfect for it. It blends so easily, even more easily than her previous matte formula. And I think it might be a bit less divisive than her like cream powder formula, which not everybody loves. So I like that it feels very light and seamless and easy to blend. The shimmers in here are so pretty, and I think it's one of those that you need to try and at least swatch it to really know how you're going to feel about it, because I think looking at it, it seems a bit too loud, a bit too young, a bit too fun for me, but using it, it's actually a bit more muted and softer and wearable than I expected it to be. You know, swatching these, they were quite surprising. You know, I used the two shadows in this palette that I would never think I would use or like. So Jacaranda and Stargirl, these two here. This one, it's much too purple and dark and rich and scary. And then this is like a silver. I'm never going to use that. I used both of those shades today, and I think they applied and worked beautifully, and I was able to use them in a way that made it wearable for me. So I'm really pleasantly surprised. I think I'm going to really love this way more than I thought I was going to, and I'm going to get a lot more use out of it than I thought I would. I love how many mattes to shimmers we've got in here. It's like pretty much a 50-50 ratio, is it? So it's 8 to 7, it's almost 50-50, which I like. I love that we've got that variation in mattes. There's no repeats in here. There's not even any shades that are especially close, maybe. See, Regal and Flutter in the palette look like they are dupes, but Flutter is much more that crystal sparkling twinkling shadow, and then Regal is much smoother of a shade, almost a sort of a satin with a softer shimmer. So the formulas are quite different between those two, even though those two on paper look close shade wise. So I think I'm going to get a lot more use out of it. I thought this would be a review, not really my color story, not really my thing, and then I wouldn't really use it that much. But I'm thinking, I can't wait to keep playing with this more, and I can see me really using it a lot. It's actually got a lot of softer everyday options in there. When you look at some of the mattes and some of the shimmers, you absolutely could use this day to day without it being like purple. Do you know what I mean? I think you could get away with like purple. Do you see the difference? I don't know, probably not. Just buffing this on my boob. Now, as for this little number, try not to look too closely at the highlighter. It already looks quite repulsive, okay? Because it's just got all sorts of fluff and just particles are already in there. There's no sort of protector, but you don't need one because both of these are cream. But already the highlighter is a mess, so I don't love that for me. I like this so much more than I thought I was going to. I thought the second I touched these, I wanted to pick this up. I'm just going to be honest with you. I've never tried this formula from Tom Ford, so I sort of thought, regardless of whether or not I think I'm going to use this or love this, I need to try the formula. I need to be familiar with as many formulas as possible so I can do comparisons for you guys and let you know and give you, you know, similarities and differences between formulas. It's helpful. So I needed to try this formula. The second I touched it, I thought, oh, I hate it. It's not for me. It's my nightmare of a cream formula. It's what I envision when I think of a cream that I don't like. It's slippery, it's thin, it's going to move everything about, it's going to be hard to apply, it's going to be sticky. I envisioned if I'd used a sponge, it literally sticking, you know, between the sponge and my skin, and that's how you pick up foundation. And then, like I said, I just used it like on top of makeup I already had at the end of the day. You know, that's my safe space. I'm going to take my makeup off. Let's give this a try. And I was really shocked at how well it applied. I also thought that the blush was not going to show up on me at all, because I've seen a lot of swatches and reviews of people with fairer skin tone than mine who, you know, the blush just wouldn't really show up on them. So I thought I've made an expensive mistake, but at least I can familiarize myself with the formula, and at least I know not to go near it ever again. It's not for me. And I was so surprised when I used it, how easy it was to use, how pretty it was, how flattering it was, and how juicy my skin looked. And I actually did not have any problems applying it. Do I kind of wish it set down a little bit more? Yes, I do. It does sort of stay juicy on the skin. One of my friends, Anne, who is makeup for mature skin, commented when I purchased this saying she loves this formula, but her hair sticks to her face whenever she uses these products, and I can totally see that happening, hence why I've got mine secured in a plait today. So I can see that happening. That would be a downside, and it is of course super expensive. I feel like there's a lot of cream products out there that are vastly more affordable than this, that are still have that luxury feel and that luxury performance, that wouldn't have that sort of more wet, sticky texture. The new Hourglass liquid blushes, I absolutely love those. You know, I love my Charlotte Tilbury's. I love the new Chanel cream, you know, cream powder blushes. Those do sort of all set down, which I prefer to staying sticky on the skin. And it's not sticky is the wrong word, it's slightly tacky. So yeah, I don't love that, but there's no denying how beautiful and pretty and fresh and juicy it looks. So I think I can get past that, okay? I think I'm okay with it, because it gives you that beautiful glossy finish. The fact that it's still fresh and juicy on your skin, it looks fresh and juicy. So, you know, it's either for you or it's not. And I think it's for me. I think I'm gonna let this one slide. So there you have it. Those are all of my thoughts on these two new limited edition products. These are definitely on my list. I already included this one, I think, in my Sephora recommendations video. Roxa, I didn't know she existed when I made that video, but I would absolutely include this. If you're a rouge, and you can get 20% off, because with influencer creator codes, you can only get, I think, 15% off from Natasha's website. So you would save an extra 5% on this if you wait for the Sephora sale. Oh, just, I think that's so pretty. I love that. I don't know why it's purple to green, because there's no green in there, but maybe it should have been like purple to pink. Just a thought. Random musings for you. But please let me know, have you tried these products? Are you interested in them? Are you skipping and passing altogether and you're just here to support me? In which case, MVP badge for you. Please let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. But I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.